Hey there, I'm Sully, and as always, welcome to the Gun Club. Alrighty, tonight we're doing a weekly update live stream for Wednesday, January 31st. I'm sorry that we didn't have our Tuesday night stream last night. Quite frankly, I've been sort of wading through content, sort of trying to put this all together, get some idea of where we're at and what all's going on, because, folks, I've got a lot of stuff, and I gotta say, this one is kind of full of white pills. I'm really glad about that. I know from time to time we come in, we get the bad news, we talk about the shootings and the negative and the bad stuff and all the black pill stuff. Well, tonight we're going to wallow through a lot of white pill stuff and a lot of really good things going on in the world, in the 2A community. And we're seeing a lot of really nice things, really positive things coming out. And so from that standpoint, let's sort of wander into this a little bit. Some of the stuff we're going to be carrying tonight, we'll be talking about Kentucky H. Bill 5, House Bill 5 in Kentucky. We're going to talk about Palmetto State Armory stepping up and taking a big stand on the Second Amendment. Much respect to the folks up there at PSA. They did something that is really, really cool and really, really represents themselves well. And I'd love to see more manufacturers step up and do it. Smith, Ruger, Remington, any of you guys listening out there, take a lead, take a step from PSA, see what they're doing. And that's a big one. Also, we have had a couple of big wins in federal court cases. As you know, the anti-gun legislatures in some of these states love to try to pass things that don't really fit with constitutionality. They try to do all this stuff. Well, we're seeing a lot of these federal judges step up and sort of throw their legislature in the garbage and say, no, sorry, can't do that. Nope, sorry, I know you want to do that. Sorry, I know you've been doing that since 2016, but we're getting rid of it now. So a lot of this is post-Bruin legislation. They're what we call Bruin response bills. The Supreme Court and the Bruin decision has given these courts a lot more leeway and a lot more traction to knock out unconstitutional gun laws, basically things that get in the way of keeping and bearing arms. And lastly, well, the Palmetto State, South Carolina, where I live, is currently actively debating constitutional carry. Now, if they get it, we'll be the 28th state in the country to have it. We've got a lot on that we'll be doing later on in the show. So really, looking at this, a lot of really good things for those of us in the 2A community. I think a lot of it is, again, really, really good white pill stuff that we can go out there and we can say, okay, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all negative. It's not all bad. And these, again, federal rulings, they're going to carry some weight and they're going to help us in the long term. So we can definitely appreciate those. First off, Kentucky HB 5. Now, we know that a lot of states, South Carolina included, has different penalties if you have a gun with you during the commission of a violent crime. Well, Kentucky is working on HB 5, which is a crime bill, and it's upping some penalties for various things. But the big part that affects us, and I'm hoping other states' legislatures are listening, and after this passes, I'm going to be sending it to my friends down in the South Carolina State House. It increases penalties for criminals convicted of crimes if, during the commission of the crime, they possessed a firearm and was previously convicted of a felony. So it's adding additional penalties for prohibited possessors with guns. Let's face it, someone can go out, have an incident involving a firearm, but if they're a lawful possessor, they shouldn't be in the same category as someone who is a prohibited possessor. Additionally, it will increase the penalties if someone possessed a firearm that he or she knew or should have known, if they were reckless in not knowing, that a firearm was stolen. We're talking about things with obliterated serial numbers, bad stuff like that. This is, again, focusing not so much on gun owners as a whole. This is focusing on that segment of the population that are prohibited possessors, that are stolen guns. Hey, you know what? If you do this and you have a stolen gun in your possession, you're going to get a harsher penalty than someone who did not have a stolen gun in their possession. Additionally, if they possess the firearm and were on probation, parole, or discharge or conditional release, it will again provide an increased penalty. I've often said that there are 20 to 25% of the people out there with guns are the problem. 75 to 80% of gun owners are not the problem. My guns personally are not weapons of war. My guns don't assault anybody. Maybe I've just got lazy guns. I don't know. Mine like to lay around all day, put them in the safe, get over there every now and then. They're still there. They haven't jumped up, loaded themselves, or gone out and shot anything. They don't move around on their own. They don't do anything on their own. It's all about the person whose hand it's in. Well, this is trying to focus on getting criminals not to have guns in their hand. Now, I know there are people out there who say once someone has served their time, they should get their rights back. And I'm very sympathetic to that plea, and I can support that. If that becomes the law of the land, then these would change. Right now, it's not the law of the land. Until it becomes the law of the land, we deal with these the best we can. What is this going to focus on? Dealing with some of this recidivism, dealing with this. It's happening again. It's happening again. This person's been in jail 5 times before for gun crimes. Why do they have a gun tonight? There are plenty of incidents that we can show. That tragic incident out of Joliet, Illinois the other day, where we ended up with a total of 8 people deceased, lost their lives because of what? Somebody who was in jail for firearms crimes before, somebody who was in jail for violent assault before, somebody who had no business with a firearm in their possession. So again, it's focusing on prohibited possessors as one of the things they're trying to target. I'm hoping that states will do this and maybe leave some of the law-abiding gun owners alone. Be kind of nice for a change. So again, that's Kentucky HB 5. It's nice to see that the legislature is dividing the good gun owners from the bad ones for a change, instead of demonizing all of us, because they sure as hell love to do that. Now, the second thing I have is PSA. Now, I don't work for PSA. I don't get anything from PSA. I am not an affiliate of PSA yet. I will say I've got to show them a lot of respect on this one. Palmetto State Armory, which is a private business, they took a big stand on the Second Amendment. On January 29th, they, along with FRAC, which is the Firearm Retailer Commercial Association, filed a 23-page amicus brief to the Supreme Court in the case of Cargill v. Garland. Now, if you're not familiar with Cargill v. Garland, that is a bump stock case. And in this 23-page brief, which I've read, they go out to say, look, we don't manufacture bump stocks, we don't sell bump stocks. However, the reason we are writing this brief is we feel it's unfair for the ATF to arbitrarily change something from being legal one day to not legal the next day. Kind of like how they did that with FRTs or pistol braces or bump stocks or anything else. We've seen a lot of administrative agency overreach on behalf of the ATF, and I've got to show a lot of respect to PSA, who not only put together a very nice, well-written brief, or their lawyers did anyway, but they stepped up to do it. They make money from the firearms industry. Now, they don't sell bump stocks. They're not into the bump stock thing. Okay, me personally, I'm not either. But even though I'm not into bump stocks, and even though I really don't care a lot about bump stocks, I realize if I don't say anything when they do it to the guy with the bump stock, well, there'll be nobody to say anything when they do it to my pistol brace. There'll be nobody to say anything when they do it to the FRTs. There'll be nobody to say anything when they do it to all the AR-15s. We know the gun-grabbing lobby likes to take, give them an inch, they'll take a yard. They've done that really well for years. They'll never have enough until they ban everything. That's right, until they 100% disarm everybody, they're going to keep on nitpicking at our rights further and further away. Well, PSA stood up and again filed this amicus brief, and amicus, if you're not familiar, is a friend of the court brief, says, look, we as an organization, as a business, we want to let you know where we stand on this. As a large organization, a big tax contributor to the government, we want to let you know where we stand on this. These briefs, although they're not necessarily required to have, it actually shows to the Supreme Court that there are citizens out there who support this. And again, much respect to PSA for stepping up and jumping on this to do it. Because what are they doing? They're basically directly saying, no, the ATF was wrong with these bump stocks and they were overreaching. You know, these friend of the court briefs do carry some weight at the Supreme Court, at SCOTUS, so big one in that. And again, I want to give a big shout out to PSA for that. PSA, if you happen to catch this or you're listening, I'll be up on Friday and give you some more of my money because I do support you for doing this. I actually looked on your website today to decide what I was going to end up buying just because of the fact of, well, you earned a little bit of my money on this deal. Folks, check out their website. They've got a lot of great deals. We're going to support them if they support this. Okay, I see in the chat here I have my legal scholar jumping in. An amicus brief is a brief filed by someone who is not a party to the case but has an interest in the outcome of the case. Okay. And again, if you go to the Latin, ME would be, I believe, friend of the court or somewhere in there. Somewhere refers to friendship at some point. I don't know. I don't know Latin, but I know a little bit of French, and it's all derived from that. So we'll go from there. So, yeah, Palmetto State jumping up and doing that. I need to go give them some money on Friday as a little thank you for stepping up and doing that. And much respect to the folks at PSA. And if you're not familiar, PSA is a rather large firearm retailer, about 7 locations in North and South Carolina. And again, they've got a huge website, mail order stuff. They're really good to deal with. So, and their prices are really nice. And I like a lot of their guns. I like their Rock. I like their Dagger Compact. I've had great responses with their ARs, uppers and lowers. So definitely interesting. I think I may be getting a new upper this weekend, something maybe in a 300 blackout. But anyway, onward from that, we had a couple of big wins in the federal court system. First off is in the Southern District Court of California. Now, California had been kind of weird. They required background checks that cost money every time you purchased ammunition. Now, this not only required people to have background checks to purchase ammunition, which cost money, but they prohibited people from importing ammunition from, say, Arizona or Nevada. You had to buy it in California and thus pay your, even though it wasn't directly a tax, pay for your background check. So they put a little extra cost on there. They limited where you can buy ammunition from. You had to buy it through a dealer. As far as buying ammunition online and having it sent to you, say one of PSA's big bulk deals of like CCI Blazer or something like that, their nice brass 9mm full metal jacket that I get by the thousands. Well, you couldn't buy it. You had to have it shipped to an FFL and pay a transfer fee. They were treating ammunition like buying a gun. Well, that was kind of ridiculous. It didn't fit with the text, history, and tradition of the Constitution. So the Honorable St. Benitez in Southern District Court has thrown that out, which will not only give those people in California who are sadly still remaining there, I'm sorry for you. Well, not only will it make their ammunition choices a little bit better, keep their costs down, but imagine you went to a shooting competition in Arizona and you were a shooter from California and you bought some ammunition there, but you couldn't bring it back into the state because you were illegally importing ammunition. Just regular rounds, regular range rounds. You had to leave your leftovers there. You had to get rid of your leftovers because you were smuggling ammunition into California. Last time I checked, there are cities in California that actually have apps you can put on your phone that tell you where people are pooping on the street. And they're worried about people smuggling in ammunition from Arizona or New Mexico, yeah, kind of BS. Yeah, California's kind of weird. Understatement of the century, isn't that the truth? So that was a big, big win for the citizens of California, or should I say the poor unfortunates who still remain there. I do have some friends in California. I know a couple of wonderful ladies who live there, and all I can say is at some point move to a free state. But until you do, at least now you can buy ammunition without having to be taxed to pay for a background check every time you do it. That's a little bit stupid. Okay. Yes, I'm caffeinating well tonight. Now, out of that state, let's go to the Northern District Court of New York. We'll sort of bounce back across the country here. The Northern District Court of New York, a judge there, issued a preliminary injunction against the Cortland Housing Authority. Now, the city of Cortland is in upstate New York, covered by the Northern District, and they had a policy in the Cortland Housing Authority banning possession or carrying any firearm anywhere on any housing property. So basically, if you lived in any Cortland Housing Authority housing complex, i.e., the PJs, you could not own or carry or use or do anything with a firearm. The whole debate went back and forth, and this got thrown in the trash because it was deemed to be, again, an unconstitutional infringement on people's rights. Now, this one takes on a little bit of a special jump for me, and the reason is I want you to think back a few shows ago, maybe about a month and a half ago, to that poor lady in Fort Worth, Texas. She and her 4 children were in a house that had been broken into multiple times that was in a Fort Worth housing complex. The police had already been out one time that night for someone trying to break in their window. Less than 30 minutes after the police leave, someone is trying to break in the window again. She uses her firearm and defends herself from somebody breaking into her 8-year-old child's room. Now, I don't have an 8-year-old child, but if I did, and you were coming in my 8-year-old child's bedroom window at 2 o'clock in the morning, bad things are going to happen. Just sit back, relax, and wait for the flash, because there's going to be a couple of them. But this lady used her firearm to legally defend herself, defend her child, protect them from a male intruder breaking into her 8-year-old child's bedroom in a house that had been broken into multiple times before. Now, the housing authority knew that it had been broken into multiple times before, wasn't really doing anything about it, didn't do much to increase security, didn't do anything else, because I guess if you live in the project, your life doesn't matter. And that's pretty much the feeling she got, that she was left with a choice of being a victim or doing something about it because no one else was helping her. So the woman exercised her two-way rights, went out, got a gun. She was not prohibited possessor. She was legal, everything else. Someone's breaking in her window. And guess what? The idiot gets shot. Sorry. I hate to say that the idiot lost his life, but he's not going to break in any 8-year-old's bedroom windows at night anymore because I don't want to know what he was doing breaking in an 8-year-old's window. We'll go with that. She immediately received notice from the housing authority that she was being evicted. And do you know why she was being evicted? Because they have a policy, no firearms allowed. So it's very simple. They won't protect you, and they won't let you protect yourself. So as far as they're concerned, this woman, single woman, 4 kids, single mom, needs to basically sit back, relax, and be a victim because no one's going to help her. So this case that went on in New York may well have ramifications everywhere. Personally, I don't care whether you live in a house that you own, an apartment that you rent, a city housing complex, a municipal housing complex, the projects, I don't care. You have a right to self-defense. You have a right to protect yourself in your home. Well, This judgment may go very, very far towards helping that and preventing mothers in the future from having to make the decision whether or not they and their children will be victimized or evicted. And I understand on one side why the housing authorities went with these rules to try to make things safer. No guns policies never make anything safer. Gun-free zones never make anything safer. How do we know? Well, gun-free zones are pretty much one of the best places or most likely places to have mass shootings. Okay, the guy in Kill Fort Worth incident, we don't know. I believe he was legal. Just curious. I think he was legal. That's a good question, Mel. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I believe he was legal. But the big question comes in with, what's he doing breaking in a 8-year-old's window at night? I'm sorry, but we've got problems with this. And so again, cases like this, while it doesn't directly affect me, I support the win on this one. This, I believe there was an SAF, Second Amendment Foundation, of which I'm a member, was the lead on this. And the one for the Southern District Court of California, I think that was FPC. So definitely kind of nice to see a few big wins, a few real big wins coming through. And again, these are wins for the Second Amendment community. These are wins for safety, because as we know, when seconds count, police are minutes away. That being said, we need a little bit of a palate cleanser. So how about this one?
A 22 caliber bullet will lodge in a lung. A 9mm bullet blows the lung out of the body.
Would somebody please get Brandon? Please, he's going to hurt himself.
Everything that guy just said is bullshit. Thank you.
All righty, onwards and upwards as we move forward here. Palmetto State Legislature debating House Bill 3594. This is the permitless carry bill in South Carolina. Now, this bill already passed the state house side back in February of 2023. It is currently, as we speak, being debated in the Senate. If this bill passes and is signed into law by Governor McMaster, which every intention says it will be, would actually allow permitless carry in South Carolina. Evening, Sleazy. How you doing, sir? Hope you have a wonderful night at work. Now, if this goes through in South Carolina, it will make us the 28th state in the union to have permitless carry. Now, if we look at permitless carry as a whole, I sort of have a 50-50 on it, and we know that I'm not always a fan of it. Let me rephrase that. I am a fan of permitless carry. I am a fan of people exercising their 2A rights. I don't think I should have to get a permit to have a church. I should have to get a permit to have free speech. I should have to get a permit to not quarter soldiers in my house. I feel that these bills of rights were designed to constrain the government. So I should be able to keep and bear arms without asking governmental permission. Yes. If it passes, will there be, more people carrying in South Carolina? Yes. I'm all for that. Now, I will say, as I've said in the past, if you're in a state that has permitless carry, that's great. More power to you. But it does put the onus on you to know what the laws are and learn about the laws. That's your responsibility, whether you've got a CWP or not. Let's say you don't have a permit in South Carolina right now, but you own a firearm. You need to learn how to use it safely, whether it's reading the manual or taking a class or doing anything else. This all comes into being safe, being responsible, and knowing what's right and what's wrong and what you can and cannot do. So from that standpoint, is it going to possibly, cut into the CWP business a little bit? Maybe. But on the other side of that coin, even if we went permitless carry tonight, which we're not, but even if we did, if they passed it all, it went through, McMaster signed it, and they said, hey, effective February 1st in the morning, permitless carry, would it still be a good idea to take a class and know what the state laws are? Yeah. Even though I've got my permit and I'm an instructor, do I still take classes on South Carolina law? Yes. Do I still read up on it? Yes. So again, it's always a good thing to have classes. I'm not against people having training. I am, however, against requiring someone to take a bunch of training and pay a bunch of stuff in order to exercise a constitutional right. I think there's a fine line there. Once again, I want people to have their guns, but I want them to do it safely and responsibly. And this brings me to an interesting story from my week this week. I had a gentleman call me about a CWP class, and my number's listed on several websites, and we got talking a little bit about class and schedules and how long it took. And as we started talking about some of this, I asked him, do you have a firearm for the class, or would you need one? And he said, oh, I'd probably need to rent one from you because I don't have one. I didn't want to buy one until I at least knew what I was doing. And I said, well, I understand that. I respect that. We've got a couple different you can test drive and get used to and see what you like, and we'll go through all of that with you. I got off the phone and I talked to one of the people, and I said, okay, we're not going to put anyone additional in that class. It's going to be a very small class. Why? I mean, more students, more money, right? Because that's what instructors make money for. I said, now, I want to keep that class small. I know he's going to take extra time. I want to make sure I have the time to deal with that with him. And so I asked him to actually meet me there a little bit early that day just to sort of help him get up to speed. Instructors, think about this. If you get somebody coming through a CWP class and they clearly don't have fundamentals and they're not sure what they're doing, how do you get through and make sure that the person doesn't just pass through the class and get a permit, that they're really comfortable, that they really know? It is what it is, folks. It is what it is. That being said, there are a lot of people out there who just don't understand guns. And what they don't understand can be kind of bad.
I've held an AR-15 in my hand. I wish I had it. It is as heavy as 10 boxes that you might be moving. And the bullet that is utilized, a 50 caliber, these kinds of bullets, need to be licensed and do not need to be on the streets.
Yeah, some people don't know what they're talking about with guns. Can you imagine that? Although they want to write laws about them. That being said, when you talk about permitless carry, we always hear the same things. What we heard when they're going to pass a carry bill, when they're going to pass a CWP bill, when they're going to, allow people to buy ammo without background checks. We always hear that if you pass this, there'll be blood on the streets. There'll be shootouts on Main Street. Oh, would you think of the children if it saves just one life? Well, got this study that came out of Ohio, and this one just absolutely wonderful. There was a study, and it was passed constitutional carry in June of 2022. Now, this study was published January 3rd of 2024, showing the following. The study examined the effect of permitless carry on crime in Columbus, Cleveland, Cincy, Toledo, Akron, Dayton, Parma, and Canton, and found a decrease in the rate of gun-related crime by as much as 22%. 22%. So again, now this one comes from the Center for Justice Research, and it is very simply, hey, constitutional carry works. Evening, ammo is currency. How are you doing? So yeah, we have a study that comes out, and this one is great. Several major cities in Ohio have a decrease in the rate of gun crime by as much as 22% in the year following constitutional carry passing. Now, this is not the only study like this. This is one that just came out across my desk, and it was so perfectly timed. Right in, like I said, down the road from me in Columbia, they're sitting there debating constitutional carry. And so from that standpoint, it's like, wow, we seem to be doing really well here. One more win for the 2A community. And again, like I said, I know I come on here a lot of times and I know I deal out plenty of black pills. But these are actually some really, really nice white pills. We've got, let's see here, constitutional carry, possibly the 28th state. You realize we are the majority, and we're starting to go even beyond that. We're seeing district courts ruling in our favor a lot, with the Southern District getting rid of California's ammo purchasing restrictions. That one, again, courtesy of the Honorable St. Benitez. We have the Cortland, New York situation where the federal judge put in the injunction to the Cortland Housing Authority, so that way residents of their housing projects will be able to exercise their 2A rights. Just because they're poor, they don't have to give up their rights. Kind of nice. I can deal with that. We have our friends at Palmetto State Armory jumping in, throwing a little money where their mouth is, jumping in to back up Cargill v. Garland. Even though they don't sell bump stocks, they're supporting that. And again, the 23-page amicus brief goes in. They don't sell bump stocks, but they don't like 2A infringement. And again, Kentucky taking steps not only to deal with crime and deal with some of the crazy crime that goes on there, but actually breaking out legal gun owners from not so legal gun owners and treating them differently. Because again, many people want to demonize all of us. And that's just not really fair, I don't think. So, do we have any questions going on? Ammo, I see you're in there. Mel, are you still in there or did you fall asleep? Definitely, it has been a really, really fun day. Fun week, too. I mean, again, every time I was looking something up, I was getting another little blip. The Palmetto gun rights page, which is part of, I believe it's part of GOA, it was connected somehow in GOA. They have been tweeting out like crazy about the Senate case right now with us trying to get our constitutional carry. There is a good possibility that we will be getting that passed very, very soon. And again, from a standpoint of that, hey, it is what it is, but I would love to see, even if you have constitutional carry, I still think learning the laws are good. Oh, yeah. Well, and lots of cool things dropped at SHOT Show as well. I see ammo in there. Yeah, there were a lot of cool things. Did you make it to SHOT Show this year? Because unfortunately, I did not. But let's see here. I know I was looking at some of the toys in SHOT Show and definitely kind of enjoying those because, well, one day, maybe next year, I'll go down to SHOT Show. Who knows? But, yeah, like I said, now, if you appreciate our content, you like what we're doing, go ahead, give us a thumbs up, give us a follow, check out what you can. I will tell you that X and Twitter or Twix or whatever you want to call it, we tend to announce a lot of things on there. I also announce stuff on Facebook for the Gun Club podcast. On Locals, I've been posting documents on there and information on there. I posted a lot from the Alec Baldwin trial on there. As always, our Rumble library, which chances are is where you're seeing this. If you are, wonderful. And if you need to email me about anything, hey, drop me a email, mike.southeastdefense@gmail.com. Let's see. The Holosun stuff, they have been coming out with a lot of really interesting optics for their pistols. May well be investing in one of them soon. I'm not sure exactly what money PSA is getting from me. I know they're going to get some money on Friday as a special thanks for their wonderful support of our Second Amendment rights. I think them stepping up on that was a big deal. Also, again, if you're familiar, if you haven't seen, our wonderful Gun Club tumblers are out there. We get them made by Southern Sisters Crafty Creations. That's their Facebook. You can reach out to them there. They can do a simple single color. They can sparkle red. They can marble black, and they can do all sorts of other wonderful things. They can even put your name on them, or all kinds of goodies there. So we love those. And they, of course, go to support our favorite mouse as she gets into the firearms world, because, after all, we love Minnie Mouse. If you don't know, we'll explain someday. All righty. Well, if that is all we've got, I'm going to leave you with this one. I know it's a little bit past Christmas time, but you got to love this, and you got to love anything with the lovely Sarah Gonzalez in it. So we'll close out with this one. Yeah, MO, definitely my favorite Christmas album too. Gotta love Sarah on that one. Yep, exactly. But that's all I've got, folks. Be smart, be safe, be careful. Bye.